Would you walk away from Omelas? This discussion is based on a story by Ursula Le Guin. It's called The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas. And the story is based on an idea that had been proposed earlier by William James. So this is the story. There is this full, beautiful city of happiness and progress. This is Omelas. It's a city of beauty and success, a city of prosperity. People live well. There is spirituality with no temples. There is courage with no soldiers. There is honor without the need to subjugate others. It is a beautiful, pristine, and scientifically advanced place. Yet Omelas is not a utopia. Well, because somewhere in a cellar, there is this child prisoner trapped in the dock, abused, hurt. The child is not allowed to go out of this cellar-prison. The child lives in filth, doesn't see the light, becomes somehow animalistic because of abuse. The child is described as first begging for freedom, promising not to do whatever bad thing it did anymore. And then gradually, because of the abuse, losing the ability to speak, losing the ability to behave like a human. And the twist is that the child's suffering and torment is the price for the city's prosperity. The child's torment is the price for Omelas' prosperity. And the children, regular people, are occasionally brought to see this child. Regular people are brought to see this child when they are young, and they are taught that the misery of the child is actually the reason for their Omelian bliss. So they know that the child is suffering. People know that the child is suffering, even children. And there is a description of the shock that they endure when they know this. They know the child is suffering, and they know that this is the price for their prosperity and bliss. And here the question is, what would you do if you were one of the inhabitants of Omelas? Is the happiness of the many enough justification for the suffering of one? And this is exacerbated by the fact that it is a helpless child. This story reflects something more popular over the internet, which is the trolley problem, and has different versions. Would you pull a lever to derail a trolley that was going to kill a number of people so that it kills just one person on another track? Would you make that choice? There are different versions of this problem, even if more people tend to say, yes, well, I'm saving 3 or 5 and killing one, this is acceptable. If we change the trolley problem a little bit, and instead of the trolley we make it pushing somebody over a cliff, the answers change, even though the result is the same. And I guess the clash here is between two views of ethics: utilitarian ethics versus the ontological ethics. It's the Bentham versus Kant. Is the happiness of the many the most important thing, or is it living by a universal rule? And a tricky litmus test for this would be, would you lie to save a life? Things are clear when the balance is so big, but according to Kantian ethics, this is problematic because it violates the general principle of the duty not to lie. But in utilitarian sense, it's not that problematic because there is a better overall consequence. So is the happiness of the many more important, or living by a universal rule? And again, going back to the question of Omelas, what would you do if you were one of these people brought to see this suffering, abused child and told that your future happiness is connected to their suffering? In Omelas, Le Guin, who is a wonderful author, talks about those who walk away. The moral choice is to leave. I guess the problem here is that this would be equivalent to walking away from the trolley problem. And I would ask, is there some moral cowardice in that? To break this down further, my personal feeling is that in reality, things are never like that. Things don't just happen like that. There is a history, and there is cultural tapestry behind all these choices. And so, in reality, you would ask, Why did we reach a point where a child has to suffer so much? What lurks in the past? You cannot live without your past. And there are some people in the past responsible for this injustice. They are the ones to be confronted, traced. Who is their successor now? Who benefits the most from the injustices that were committed in the past? This should be our approach in solving these difficult problems, I think. Might not seem completely practical, but with a longer-term perspective, it is more practical. How can we organize ethics? It seems that fairness, basic rights for all, is always essential. And then fairness in opportunities. So any intervention should aim to correct the injustices of luck, not exacerbate them. And this is why I would think that, in summary, reality isn't like pulling a lever. You are an individual with a set of moral and cultural values, and you must act in accordance with the harmony of your knowledge and your courage in a way that your future self won't be disappointed. And this takes me to a discussion we were having in class a while back. And this was the classical problem of shipping corn to roads, about the ethics of disclosing sales information to customers. How much should you tell? And of course, the discussion starts from the point at which the law ends. We are always talking about an area beyond the law. So you are not breaking the law in a sense. Because our morality, our sense of justice, our ethical, cultural values should typically be higher and more advanced than the law. And so it would seem that many of these ethical problems don't have a clear answer. Because you are always trying to balance different variables, and you could always think about, well, if this were extended in this direction or the other, something tricky will happen. The discussion will keep on moving from one caveat to the other, from one consideration to the other. And towards the end of the discussion, a student asked me, but what would you do? Obviously, after being frustrated with all the different possibilities. And to which I answered this, referring to the discussion itself that covered many as we could, many of the dimensions of the problem. So what is the answer to this problem or to other ethical problems? Well, this is why I think it's the deliberation itself. Can you justify your choice very well? Did you really think about it? Did you do your homework? Did you make sure it is defensible? What effort, what thought, what reflection did you put into it? Are your actions consistent and coherent to the best of your knowledge and effort? We were talking about useful knowledge a while back. And I think this is a place where knowledge, awareness is more useful and more important than mere action. So what would you do? Would you walk away from Omelas